wins from beginning to end. No gimmick if I rep it, dude, I live it then. And you can't do it, so ain't no need for mimicking. I'm not innocent, I'm on a mission, so let me finish it. Matter of time before they summon the army in. I'm probably on the FBI's most wanted list. I'm probably gonna end up hung like an ornament. I'm on a life mission to abolish all the government.
Look around and tell me what you say, because it's coming down, are you listening? Stop and look, this is what I made. Yeah, it's going down, it's going down. Open your eyes, the state you're in is a state of mind. Freedom disguise, the state you're in is a state of mind.
What's up? What's up? How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Liberty Hour. Back on for the second show in a row after a 1 month break because of finals and everything else that was going on. But once again, wanted to just thank my guest from last week's show, Kendrick Haskins, for being on. Got to talk about a lot of stuff music-wise with him. Very interesting to learn, everything that he's had going on with his life recently. And this week, I've got another one of my friends from high school who will be getting into a lot of stuff that he's been doing. He went on a 2-year mission to Chile. He's now at BYU. Was a good friend of mine back in high school, and I'm glad that I've been able to stay in touch with him over time. And that's my good friend, Cameron Haar. How you doing, Cameron?
I'm doing good.
Cool. Well, once again, thank you very much for being on. And, obviously, you've been very busy ever since high school. You had a 2-year mission to Chile. You're now at BYU. And overall, just, I wanted to just start with, how things have been going with you. Start with your time at BYU. So this is your first time there, BYU in Utah. And, you were telling me a little bit before the show started that you have a job as one of the IT guys as well. Just explain to me how the whole experience has been going for you so far at BYU, what you've liked most about it, just everything.
Okay, honestly, I love BYU. It's a fantastic school. It has to be one of the best colleges in the United States. It's amazing. Ever since I got back, because I got back from Chile in August of last year. So I've done just 1 year of college. And so far it's been great. It's a really great environment to learn in. I've really liked it.
And so what is it that you are majoring in?
So I'm majoring in computer engineering. So it's really similar to electrical engineering, but more on a hardware electronic side, kind of.
So with BYU being more of a private school, have you noticed that the class sizes are not too big, or class sizes still, do you have pretty darn big lecture halls? Explain to me how the educational environment is when it comes to the campus.
Yeah, so it really depends on what class it is, because there's some classes, some of the writing classes are a lot smaller just because the grading, you kind of have to have less kids in a class. But I've had other classes, I had an American Heritage class that was at least 500 plus students. So It really just depends on what the class is. It was a giant auditorium just full of kids. So they really it depends on what the class is and what the lecture type is. And there's different classes, even in the same classes, they'll have certain classes that have more students and certain classes that have less students, even just if it's the same class, if that makes sense. Certain lectures are just less. So, but it's cool. I like it a lot. It's a really nice campus, and I think the environment's just a lot better than most other schools. A lot of universities today are just really, I think they're really toxic, and I feel it's kind of crazy on a lot of campuses, but I feel at BYU it's really, really nice. It's really safe, and it's a super cool place.
With your busy schedule when it comes to obviously school and work and everything there, have you been able, or have you wanted, or have you been able to make it out to any of the athletic events? Because I know BYU has some very good sports teams and stuff like that. Have you managed to be able to go to any of those games at all by any chance?
Oh yeah, tons. So I went to every football home game last year, but our football team sucked. Our basketball team didn't do much better, but I went to a lot of the basketball games, and the volleyball games were really good because our guys and girls volleyball teams are both top of the nation. So they're both really good. Especially our girls volleyball team was just they were ranked number 1 for a while last year, until in the playoffs, one of the girls hurt her leg. I think she tore her Achilles or something, or no, her ACL. So she couldn't play, and then we like lost one of our games. But they were like undefeated the whole season. So the girls volleyball teams was super fun to watch, and the guys is super good right now too. So it's been super fun.
I would assume that the athletic events for students are free to go to.
So you have to pay the student, but most students buy a rock. You can get this thing called a rock pass. The rock is like the student section, so like the zoo, right?
Okay, I got you.
Lincoln. So you pay for like a rock pass. I think it's like $100, but you can get into every sports game all year for free.
Okay, that's what's up. That's cool.
So you just pay like one time at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, you mentioned that the football team's bad there. Probably still better than Sac State's because Sac State is absolutely terrible.
I hope so.
Sac State started 2-1 and they finished their year off 1-7 or 1-8 or something like that. Just absolutely terrible. And as a person like me, who is a writer for because I'm not anymore, who was a writer for the school newspaper at Sac State, I made my way out to a couple of those games and they were not fun.
Yeah, that's how. So when the season started, they were playing the quarterback Tanner Mangum, and he's been the quarterback for like 4 years, and he honestly didn't play very well. But the last like 3 or 4 games, they started playing this freshman kid from Arizona, from Mesa or Gilbert, and his name is Zach Wilson, and he was playing really well. His first game that he played, he just like tore it up. So we're hoping that with him playing this year, that our team will be a little bit better. But no, I don't have a lot of hope. They could play well, but we'll see.
I was going to say, I would assume that, knowing how big BYU is, you have over 30,000 enrollment. Yeah. I would assume that you guys have your own school newspaper. Do you not?
Yeah, we do. There's a couple. There's like a newspaper. There's a magazine. There's a couple things. I don't really read it as much as I probably should, but I'm always reading the news online, but I never really take the physical newspapers. They have them lying everywhere on campus. I probably should, to be honest, but
I just pulled it up. One of them looks like it's called the Daily Universe. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Daily Universe.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm pulling it up. That actually looks pretty good. Yeah. Obviously it was with the State Hornet at Sac State, and that was fun. I'm
That's
half
awesome.
glad that I'm done there, half glad I'm not. There's certain things that I didn't like there, but I could get into that in a whole nother podcast. But I wanted to focus back to your job that you have, which has to do with IT, which seems to be pretty related with your major. And I just wanted to ask you, how did you manage to get that job, and how long have you had it for? Just tell me about like that whole experience and everything.
Yeah, so getting back from my mission in August, I started off my fall semester, and my parents told me they'd help me out with college for the first year just because I spent a lot of my savings going to Chile, so I didn't have a lot of money, and I kind of wanted to just jump right into it when I got back. So they helped me pay for tuition my fall semester, but starting winter, I really wanted to start saving money and start kind of making my own way, kind of becoming more independent, so I was looking for a job, and then one of my buddies that was in Chile with me got a programming job there at BYU. So he was like, dude, I can probably help you find a job if you want. So I went and applied with him, had an interview, and I got the job. So now I just work for the Office of Information and Technology. I'm a student programmer, and I'm working on the student financials team. So a lot of the pages that they like where you pay your tuition, where you do file for your taxes or tax returns, and like where you apply for internships and a lot of like the financial side of the website that BYU has. I'm working developing a lot of the internet pages because a lot of them are in this old version. Like there's kind of like older version, the way they used to make web pages before, and you can't really open them up on your phone. You can, but they're not like, they call it fluid. They don't like adjust to the size of your phone screen. So I'm going through and kind of reworking a lot of the pages to kind of make them fit better on a phone or a tablet. So basically that's what I've been doing. Lots of like financial stuff with like programming, but it's fun. It's like it's an interesting job, and it'll help me, I think, with my major too. It'll be like really good work experience for like the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was going to ask you, when it comes to like the pay of that, is it like on like a wage basis, like you get like over like a little over minimum wage? Like how does that work when it comes to like a student job?
Yeah, so they started me off a little bit over minimum wage here in Utah, but minimum wage in Utah is like $8.50. So they started me at more than that, and then every semester that I work here, they give us like $1.50 to $1 raise. So I've already worked here like one semester, and then just basically every semester they just give you a little raise. So there's kids that have been working there for like 2 or 3 years, and they make like $20 an hour. So I'm just gonna stay for a little while.
Nice, cool. And so obviously, since you're at BYU, and I can actually see, this is like the first time I think ever in a podcast I've actually been able to actually see the person on Skype, because usually I
Really?
just do like audio and it works fine, but I can actually see, and I can kind of see your room behind you there a little bit too. I was going to ask you, because
right here.
obviously, yeah. 'Cause I was going to ask you, getting to live on campus, how has like the residence halls been and stuff like that? Is it pretty nice, pretty spacious, and do you have like a lot of stuff to do there? Like RA's pretty cool. Explain to me how like the experience has been like living on campus.
Yeah, so there's 2 on-campus housings, and I live off campus.
Oh, okay,
But
nice,
I only
cool,
live-
great.
I live off
Even
campus,
better.
but it's only like 2 blocks away from campus, so it's super close. And it's like I walk to class every day, and it's like a 15-minute walk. So it's like the convenience of living close to campus, but off campus, so I can kind of have more freedom, I guess. But it's been fun. Living with like 5 of my buddies. 2 of them were in Chile with me, and they're all from Arizona, but they're all super chill. So I've been living with them most of like 3 of the same ones since fall semester, since I got back in August. So we're all super tight, but it's fun. It's like a really like social complex, because it's a giant, like there's like 4 or 5 different buildings of apartments, and then there's like a courtyard with a pool and a hot tub and a basketball court. So there's always stuff going on. There's always people playing basketball, always people in the pool, and it's like super social. So it's been fun.
I'm sure that the
It's a good place.
affordability of rent is much better there than it is in California.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? It was 1 sec here, guys. I think we're trying to get back to just a quick technical difficulty on one of our ends. Can you hear me out, Cameron?
Oh, no,
You can hear me? Cool. All right, cool. What I was going to ask you is, I'm sure that rent affordability is much better in Utah than it is in California, am I right? Yeah.
when I hear what the tuition that people are paying in California, I lose my mind.
Yeah, when you hear all the regulations and laws and everything that are going on, that's really ridiculous as well. But we'll be getting into all that later on as well. But anyways, outside of that, Cam was just telling me about his experience at BYU, and another thing that I mentioned early in the podcast is he went on a 2-year mission to Chile out of high school, and I got a lot of questions on that, so I guess I'll go ahead and just jump right into it. The first thing that came to my mind before you get into everything is, because you mentioned that you spent most of your savings, while at your mission in Chile. Was there any financial compensation for your mission at all, by any chance, or no?
No, they don't pay you at all. So they kind of like standardize the pay, because there's missionaries that go all over the world, from everywhere from like Africa to like one of the most expensive places is like New Zealand. A lot of people that go to, like, my roommate went to Auckland, and it was really expensive there. So they kind of, everybody just pays the same amount, and then they distribute that money to everybody during like the course of your mission. So you have to deposit a certain amount in your account, and then they kind of give it to you little by little, because a lot of the kids are younger when they go. There's a lot of 18-year-olds that go that don't really know how to manage their money very well. So the church helps you with that a little bit, and like a lot of the younger kids just help manage their money. But really, the church doesn't pay you. The church doesn't make any money off of it. It's really just like a service thing that you pay for by yourself, and you just go.
Well, that's awesome. And, in the next part of the podcast, we'll be getting a lot more into that. I'll have a lot more questions on that. But I actually have a quick Q&A question from one of my friends. And this is actually a question I think I should start asking everybody that I have on. And that is how, outside of obviously, you could also, say out of your experiences in Chile and out at BYU and everything. But where do you think that you have seen yourself change most since your time in high school, now 3 years later in college?
Oh, definitely my 2 years in Chile. It's a crazy experience moving to a different country for 2 years, living by yourself, and like when you think, honestly, it still blows my mind that like I graduated high school and moved to a foreign country and lived by myself for 2 years, like speaking a language that I didn't know and just kind of like getting to know the people. Like it's really something that'll change you, and it changes your perspective on everything, from like appreciating family to appreciating where you live. It changes your thoughts on just like how people should live their lives. I don't know. It was a really like life-changing experience, and I don't think I'll ever be the same. I think it's something that everybody should do. Like a lot of kids do study abroad, and I think that's cool because it really like shows you a new culture, and you really get to like see a different side of life and learn. Like, I think one of my favorite parts was just like realizing that.
And we'll be getting all into that in the second part of the Liberty Hour. Stay tuned.